Welcome to the JW Untold Truth channel. So this is the recap for 2023 JW edition. Let's see what has happened and what is new within the Jehovah Witnesses world for the 2023. Let's start with January.
A Teller County man is now behind bars accused of sexual assault on a minor. This man, Sean Lance Swisher, is now in the Teller County jail and is accused of sexually assaulting a minor by a person in a position of trust. The sheriff's office says it served 2 search warrants, one of them at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses near Woodland Park. The second search warrant was for Swisher's house in Florissant.
So that wasn't a good start for the year for the Jehovah Witnesses, but let's have a look what happened in 2023 February.
I thought this would be a nice memory aid, this verse stay in the mind. Here's what Jehovah's promising.
So this was a lovely governing body, Anthony Morris III, and he was ousted in around February 2023. And there was an announcement in the JW org that was quickly deleted, as you already know. And the announcement was on Wednesday, February the 22nd, 2023. It was announced at the world headquarters, the brother Anthony Morris III is no longer serving as a member of the governing body of Jehovah Witnesses, and that was quickly taken down the following day and put back on the website once again and taken down again, and it's completely been removed since then. And then Anthony Morris has never appeared, and most of his videos or all his morning worship videos have been deleted from the JW website. I have another videos showing all his morning worships on my channel if you want to see what he had to say on his morning worships. So let's have a look what happened in March 2023.
Mobile footage records a gunman firing inside a building where a weekly Bible study meeting was taking place. Outside, a stream of police vehicles and ambulances rushes to the scene.
Ja, genau. Ich bin Anwohner hier oben.
I'm a resident up here and I heard loud gunshots, so I went to the window to get an idea of the situation. Then I saw that a man was shooting out of the window with a firearm. There were people being carried out, and there were probably 25 shots at least that I heard. And after the police got there was no gunfire for a long time. Then, after 5 minutes or so, there was a single shot.
Armed police then stormed the building, escorting people out. Police say a body found on the upper part of the building may have been the gunman.
The police officers who went in found people who may have been seriously injured by firearms, some of them fatally. The officers also heard a shot from the upper part of the building and went upstairs, where they also found a person. So far, we have no indications that any perpetrators fled.
Forensic teams are looking for clues as police investigate the gunman's motives. Kulsum Sharif, Al Jazeera.
So, but let's have a look what happened in April 2023.
A group of lawyers who support the children of believers of the Jehovah's Witness religious organization reported to the government that the organization practiced religious abuse such as whipping. 92% of the 581 children who answered a survey said that they have gotten whipped. Some of them said that their parents and other followers exchanged information on more painful whips. 81% of the respondents held no blood transfusion cards as they were instructed by their parents. The group of lawyers also said that there were various other restrictions, such as denial of higher education.
Let's have a look what happened in May 2023 with the Jehovah Witnesses.
Mom's disfellowshipping still feels so wrong.
Elsa, please speak up. I miss you so much. I just want to hear your voice.
It's such a struggle. I miss her. She taught me the truth. Gave me a stable life. She was my closest friend. What's the harm in just calling once in a while? To chat. Maybe I can even help her to come back to Jehovah.
Abel was essentially a spiritual orphan. But regardless of what his parents chose, he listened to Jehovah and patiently waited on him to fulfill his promises.
I never thought of it that way. What has Jehovah promised me if I patiently wait? Spiritual brothers? Sisters? And mothers. If I focus on what I do have and wait patiently, someday what I don't have may even come back to Jehovah.
So the Jehovah's Witnesses decided to delete this video because we can see how disgusting the disfellowship and shunning policy is, where a daughter can replace, when a daughter can just ignore and reject the mother just because she's been disfellowship. There's no contact or communication at all with family members. And we also can see that they're teaching the Jehovah's Witnesses members that if you lose a brother or sister or mother or a father or whoever you lose because of the disfellowship doctrine, don't worry, you can just replace with anyone in the Kingdom Hall. There's plenty of people that you can replace with. If any of your family members or any of your friends have been disfellowship. So that is a disgusting thing. And they know, the leaders know that this is wrong. Otherwise they wouldn't delete it from the convention. So it's interesting how the leaders are seeing that this policy is inhumane, but they still, the Jehovah's Witnesses implement and apply this doctrine or this rule to anyone who is disfellowship or whoever leaves the congregation. But anyway, let's have a look what happened in June with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
$40 million. That is how much a judge awarded to the victim in a childhood sex abuse lawsuit here in Hawaii. KITV4's Eric Nacton joins us now with the details. Eric.
Well, this week, the Circuit Court awarding a plaintiff known as ND $15 million in damages for harm she suffered from sexual abuse and $25 million in punitive damages. It's in connection with ND's claims that the defendant, Kenneth L. Apano, raped and sexually abused her in 1992 when she was 12. Apano was an elder in the Jehovah's Witness Church at the time he sexually assaulted the plaintiff. The abuse reportedly took place during sleepovers at Apano's house. The lawsuit was filed in 2020 against defendants Apana and the Makaha Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses and other entities associated with the Jehovah's Witnesses Church. And the court reports Apana sexually molested minor girls for at least 23 years. I reached out to the Jehovah's Witnesses Church as well and have not heard back. Eric Nacton, KITV4 Island News.
So the month of June was not good at all for the Jehovah's Witnesses. $40 million was awarded. So, and that's not the only case. There's cases all around the world just like this one. So you're gonna have to tighten your belts, Jehovah's Witnesses, because it's gonna be a rough ride from here on. All right, let's have a look what happened in July.
Happening today, the Pennsylvania Attorney General announcing charges against 5 men for allegedly sexually abusing children for years. All of them were members of the Jehovah's Witnesses Church. Action News reporter Taronda Thomas, she joins us live now in Center City. Taronda, we're learning these are not the first charges connected to the church.
Yes, for the third time in 9 months, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office is announcing those charges all against men who are Jehovah's Witnesses. It's part of an ongoing investigation into child sexual abuse. Now, while the Attorney General would not go so far as to liken this to patterns of abuse that we've seen in the Catholic Church, she says there's a commonality: religious institutions that are a means by which the suspects access their victims.
Children are some of our most vulnerable members of society.
It's the reason Pennsylvania Attorney General Michelle Henry is focused on child sex abuse cases and one big investigation involving members of Jehovah's Witness congregations.
The 5 defendants that we have charged today were all adults in positions of trust.
All 5 affiliated with Jehovah's Witness congregations, one of them an elder.
All 5 men had the trust of the victims and their families.
Officials aren't saying which congregations, but the suspects are as follows. 45-year-old Sean Sheffer of Butler County, 50-year-old Earl William Hall of Delaware County, 57-year-old Terry Booth of Panama City, Florida, 55-year-old Luis Manuel Ayala Velasquez of Redding, and 62-year-old David Belosa of Philadelphia, the only suspect who hasn't been arrested yet.
Many of these incidents and offenses happened a long time ago.
The alleged abuse, all separate incidents, happened between 1995 and 2014, with the victims 4 girls and 1 boy, ranging in age from 4 to 16. Now, all adults, the victims step forward, some after seeing previous news conferences in October of 2022 and February of this year. Both were announcements of charges against other Jehovah's Witness congregants for sexual abuse. Since last October, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office has filed sex abuse charges against 14 men who are Jehovah's Witnesses.
For these survivors to have the courage and the willingness to pursue justice against their abusers is truly brave and remarkable.
Now, of the suspects who have been charged since October, all of them are pending trial except for one who took his own life before he could be arrested. The Attorney General's office encourages anyone who may have been a victim, no matter how long ago, to step forward. In Center City, Taronda Thomas, Channel 6 Action News. Great.
Okay, Taronda, thanks for the update.
But let's have a look what happened in August.
A 3-day gathering of Jehovah's Witnesses in India was cut short by suspected bombing. Multiple blasts were reported at the convention, where over 2,000 people gathered in the southern state of Kerala.
We all rushed out. That's all what we know. And we all rushed out, got everybody to safety. That's all we can say in this time.
At least 3 people were killed and over 50 wounded by bomb blasts. A 12-year-old girl was among those killed. A former congregation member claimed responsibility for the attack and has turned himself in to police. The suspect said he disagreed with the church's beliefs. Police are currently investigating his claims.
So August was not a really good month for the Jehovah's Witnesses in India. We can see the treatment that they have to their own followers once they leave the organization, cause them to mentally and psychologically lose the sanity. So, and then cause them to do these sort of acts to their own or to the former organization. So we can see that this treatment really affects people once they leave the organization. So let's have a look what happened in September within Jehovah's Witnesses.
Something that we may not talk about as readily in our ministry. You may have noticed in Isaiah the expression, "and the day of vengeance of our God." We see this clearly in the words recorded at Revelation 14, 6 and 7. Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of judgment by him has arrived. So worship the one who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and the springs of water. Includes a judgment message. What is the hour of judgment mentioned in this verse? The hour of judgment mentioned in this verse includes both the pronouncement and the execution of divine judgment against all false religion, Babylon the Great, and all other parts of Satan's system of things. Of course, Babylon the Great and this world's institutions have already been judged. However, their sentence has yet to be carried out. When will that happen? Toward the end of the hour of judgment, which will conclude at the climax of the last days with the destruction of the present wicked system. It's increasingly urgent that we proclaim the judgment aspect of the good news to them, because the time when God will execute judgment is fast approaching. It will be bad news for those who stubbornly refuse to live by Jehovah's righteous standards.
So September, there was this month was a fear-mongering discussion or talk. So yeah, the judgment message, the vengeance from Jehovah God, well, the hailstone message from the Jehovah's Witnesses to everyone that is not a Jehovah's Witnesses. You'll be doomed if you don't come and join us. So, fear-mongering month. Alright, let's have a look what happened in October.
In January 1939, a suggestion was placed before congregation publishers. A goal of 60 hours per month. Early on, Congregation Field Service reports were thorough. Over the years, the forms used to report publishers' field service activity have been simplified. Reports have consistently included back calls or return visits, Bible studies, publication placements, and hours spent in the disciple-making work. As was the case back then, there's always a story behind a field service report.
We are pleased to announce that beginning November the 1st, 2023, congregation publishers will no longer be asked to report the amount of time they spend in the ministry, nor will publishers be asked to report their placements, the videos they show, or their return visits. Instead, the field service report will simply have a box that will allow each publisher to indicate that he or she shared in any form of the ministry during the month. There will be one more box where publishers report the number of different Bible studies they conduct. This simplified report serves a valuable purpose. It will allow us to know the number of active publishers in each land.
So I found this ridiculous. I mean, for almost 100 years, or maybe 100 years, the Jehovah's Witnesses have to complete a number of hours. If you were a full-time pioneer, could have been up to 150 hours, I think, or 60 hours. And then if you got the part-time pioneer, and if you're just a normal Jehovah's Witnesses publisher, you had to do the minimum average hours of the congregation. Otherwise, you will be seen as a spiritually weak, and doing the utmost, and why aren't you doing enough hours, and all this crap. And then they even went to the they even suggested that this was a regulation from God himself, that we had to count hours. And then suddenly they're going like, nah, really, there's no need to count hours anymore. We just need to tick a box to see if you're still active, so we can count you within the numbers of our stats, so we can claim probably some benefits from the government. And yeah, so now apparently God has flipped his mind and said, no, there is no need for counting hours. But pioneers and auxiliary pioneers, they still have to count the hours. It's just for the regular publishers or the regular Jehovah's Witnesses that they don't have to count hours. But I'm still pretty sure there still be a bit of a guilt tripping for the publishers if you don't come out. We have to wait and see. But if you keep seeing people in the carts or going out, it's because they are pioneers. They still have to count the hours. So it's interesting how God will say no counting hours for the normal publishers, but for the pioneers we still have to count the hours. Figure that out. Alright, let's have a look what happened in November. Oh yes, the secret box, the mysterious secret box that we had last year. So all congregations were given this secret box, and there were detailed instructions in the service overseer's confidential letter from the governing body. Let's have a read at the confidential box letter and the instructions that they had. Beginning this month, congregations may begin to receive boxes that contain confidential material and that are marked "Do not open" until November the 6th, 2023. These boxes should not be opened by anyone, including literature, servants, and elders, before November the 6th. Please ensure that any who assist with the literature are aware of this direction. These boxes should be kept out of sight in a secure location. We trust that no one will reveal confidential talk about the boxes or the upcoming date, that these boxes will remain unopened and secure until the appropriate time. And this was what it was inside the box right before November the 6th. It was already leaked on Reddit. It was just a small brochure, and that was the hype for the whole bloody thing. And what happened in December 2023? Let's have a look.
Well, like Paul, are we willing to forego our rights regarding, for example, wearing a beard? Well, the Apostle Paul said, because the Scriptures do not condemn the wearing of beards.
Once again, we see here Jehovah flipping his mind again, changing his mind. So for almost almost 100 years or less than 100 years, let's say 70 years for just to put a number there, the Jehovah's Witnesses could not have a beer. They could not give a talk, a prayer, or have any parts in the conventions or assemblies if they had a beer, a full-grown beer. And also, if you going out door-to-door ministry, you'll be seen as like, dear brother, I think you have to go home and shave off that beer. You could not do anything. And even if you go to the meetings with a beer, you'll be seen as spiritually weak or as a rebel or going against the unwritten rules that Jehovah's Witnesses have. So, but suddenly in December, the Jehovah's Witnesses leader flipped the coin. There's no issues at all. God does not have an issue at all. So we can see clearly how Jehovah's Witnesses leaders can twist the scriptures just for their own benefits, and not just scriptures, their own rules. So quite interesting. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the recap for 2023 in the Jehovah's world, and let's see what we can find for the next video.